Welcome, friends. This is a video in isolation service of the Unitarian Church of South Australia, which has existed in various ways and places since 1854. If you've downloaded this as a PowerPoint slideshow with recorded narration, there'll be links you can click that will take you out into a new window for hymns and music. If you're seeing this as a YouTube video, that interaction isn't possible, but you can instead just sit back and relax and watch it like a TED Talk. But this service is existing not just in virtual space, but comes from the actual land of the Kaurna people from which our church has drawn its life and living these many years. So it's fitting that we make space to acknowledge and pay our respects to Kaurna elders past, present, and emerging, recognizing that this land is theirs from a long time ago. It has never been ceded and is of continuing spiritual importance to the living Kaurna people today. In that same spirit of welcome and inclusion, SA Unitarian services are intended to serve the spiritual needs of all as far as that's possible. We are essentially religious pluralists. It should not matter what God or gods you believe in or don't or are still wondering about. It should not matter what faith traditions you adhere to or whether you have adhered to any at all. These services serve by lifting up things of human worth. And that is why we call them worship, from the Old English worth-ship, to raise something to worth. And offering it to all, as we do, is always an act of love and of faith and of hope. And I hope to see you from 11:30 to 12:30 today for our Zoom coffee hour. If you're watching this and you haven't had an invitation to that, you're not on our mailing list, contact us at this address and we'll make sure to send you an invitation to coffee hour. All are welcome there, as indeed all are welcome to follow our regular podcasts on Apple iTunes, our Facebook and Twitter pages, and to check out our website where there is a range of multimedia services available to you. Now, if you don't have a chalice handy, go hit pause and go and get one. Something as simple as a tea light and a cocktail glass will do. I'll still be here when you come back after you unpause and we can light our lights together. So if you're still with me, we light this chalice today to symbolize the lamp of learning. We're passing through a time in history ripe for learning true values. We are learning whether we serve ourselves or the most vulnerable first. We are learning if wisdom and truth can prevail. We are learning if the love we speak of in our religions can prevail. We are learning if money really can help and who it helps. We are learning who truly matters to us and to a healthy society. We are learning how we are bound invisibly to each other in myriad ways. We are learning whether the value of human life outweighs economics. We are learning what a future might look like. May that timeless power which illuminates all lamps of learning illuminate us. When all these isolation video services, because we may be welcoming new people to the Unitarian worship space, this hymn kind of embodies our faith and is a good touchstone, so I'm using it in all of these services. You click the link, you'll be taken out to a version with music and the lyrics on the screen so you can sing along or just appreciate it. And again, just close that window and come back, and we'll be here when you do. Now, if there are children watching at home, I have a short wisdom story for you. This is from North American tradition. It's for the young and also for the young at heart on our theme today. It's called the $100 bill. So if you're interested in a wisdom story you can discuss with your kids after this, this is for you. If not, you can click ahead to the next component in our service. So the $100 bill. Well, there were living together a sister and brother, and they regularly pooled their resources and did their shopping together. And one particular week, they'd had a particularly good week, and the brother was feeling very flush and said, "Look, you're going out shopping for us this week. Here, It's a fresh, crisp $100 bill. And put it on the table and said, that's gonna buy a lot of shopping, and we can use that when you when you're done. Hope you have enough hands for all the bags. And the sister looked at the $100 and said, wow, that is a lot of money. I'll do a great shop for us. Don't you worry about that. So she gets herself all ready to go on the train, gets her bags and baggage together, gets herself done up, and goes out to get on the train to take her to the market town nearby. And as she's on the train, she's thinking what all of the things that she'll buy with the $100 bill. And as the train's rocking, as trains do, she kind of drifts off into a little doze. And then when she wakes up at some point, she sees that she's not alone in the carriage. There's a kind of an old tramp that's sort of sitting across from her with his bags and baggage, obviously, heading more or less to the same direction. And she's like, oh man, okay. Wonder how that guy was able to afford the fare for this train, but okay, and she's checking him out and sees his bag on the floor and sees poking out of his backpack a fresh, crisp $100 note. And she's like, oh my God, this guy has stolen this from me. I'm gonna check and see. Nope, I don't. It's not in my purse. It's not in my wallet. It's not on my person. That's my $100 bill. That's been stolen from me. So she wonders if she should call the guard or she should call the train security or whoever. And she, is thinking about what to do. And she sees that as the train's rocking, the tramp kind of drifts off to a little nap. And she goes, you know what? I don't want a big scene here. I'm just going to take that $100 bill back. And she slips her hand down into the bag and pulls out the fresh, crisp note and puts it in her pocket and gets off the train when her stop comes and goes and does her shop, feeling like, justice was done here. I didn't make a big scene. I didn't get the guy arrested. No harm was done, but how dare he steal from me? So I've shown him, and that's a good outcome. I think I'll go for my shop now. So she goes for a shop, gets on the train, gets back home. He's her brother. Comes in the front door with all this shopping, hams and turkeys and great, caviar for a change and really good stuff, a couple of bottles of wine, and puts it all down on the ground. And the brother's looking at her and goes, how the hell did you get all that? And she said, well, from the $100 bill you gave me. And he said, it's still here on the table, because she had forgot to take it in all her excitement. So if you want to talk about this with your kids afterwards, you might want to discuss what is it about, the self-serving judgments we make about other people, how it's easy to assume what we think we know and how little we actually know, how little this woman actually knew about the tramp's appearance versus what kind of money he did in fact have, what she assumes about the poorer folk, and so on. So you might just want to talk about how much we don't know about other people, and be interested to hear what you have to say about that. So this is a guided meditation that I've been doing for a few months at the school. And if you're interested in this sort of thing, this is an easy, guided, non-religious meditation that takes about 8 minutes. If you'd like, a few moments of quiet time, stay with me, and I'll take you through this meditation. If not, you can click ahead to the next slide. So, let's begin. Just take a moment and get comfortable where you're sitting. You don't need to be perfectly bolt upright, just sitting so you can both focus and relax, and be at ease in body and mind. And as you sit there, just take a few deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. As you breathe in, Sense you're taking in fresh air. Feel your lungs expanding. Feel your body expanding. And as you breathe out, have a sense of letting go. Letting go of whatever's been going on for you today or recently. Feel the muscles in the body soften as you exhale. And a couple more times, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And on your next breath out, if you feel comfortable and safe where you are to do so, gently close your eyes to remove all distractions. And as you sit there, just enjoy that sense of having put everything down, put everything away or behind you, because no one is making any demands on you right now, and all that matters is here and now. Notice the sensation of your body pressing down onto the seat beneath you. Notice the points of contact that your body has with the seat, the back of the seat. Just notice being grounded, sitting on the seat, feet on the floor, hands or arms on the table or your legs. Now take a moment without opening your eyes and get that sense of the environment around you, different sounds you can hear, the different smells, the temperature of the air, any movement or stillness you can sense. So with eyes closed, simply become more aware of the space around you. And just begin to notice any areas of tension being held by your body. No need to fix them. Just let them unwind on their own as you become aware of them. Just notice how your body feels. Allow any tension to arise. Allow yourself to feel any tiredness. Allow yourself any heaviness. Becoming aware of these is good. Now allow your mind and your body more space. Space to be more alert, more awake, more aware as you go through your day today. Start to notice your breath now. Breath is a good indication of how we feel in our mind and body. There's no need to change it. Just notice if the breaths are long or short, deep or shallow, flowing easy or not flowing easily. Where are your thoughts now? In meditation, anytime a thought pops in and your mind wanders, just acknowledge the thought, and you become aware of it and let it go. And gently bring your awareness back to the present moment and that feeling of your breath flowing in and out of your body. Now in your mind, imagine a warm, golden ray of gentle sunlight flowing down onto you, showering you like warm water, your shoulders or your back or your head, whatever feels comfortable for you. This light is washing away any remaining tension that may be remaining, so it can be left behind. Any tension simply melts away. And you can watch this golden light work systematically down the body, washing it away, any tension down to your toes, out to your fingertips. You'll leave any troubling thoughts or sensations you've accumulated behind. Watch them go. And feel now that your entire body is not separate from the light, but part of it, so that you and the light are one. And just feel that ease and warmth, reset of body and mind, so you can meet whatever comes next. And in your own time, absolutely when you're quite ready, gently open your eyes again. I've found an interlude song on today's theme, which I think you will love. It's one of our greatest living songwriters, Mary Chapin Carpenter, a song called Why Shouldn't We? We believe in things we cannot see. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we? It's a gorgeous song. This link will take you out to a new window. When you're finished listening, just close the window and come back, and I'll see you when you return. Well, it's been 4 months since you and I last had a live service together, for those of you that come to the church. It was 4 months ago that I had a service in a room full of people. 4 months later, I'm a lone man sitting in an empty room talking to a hole in a device. To a passerby, I'm a man sitting here talking to no one. What used to be a sign of madness has become commonplace, because we now see people isolated in homes and office rooms talking aloud to the absent. Things like that make 4 months ago seem a galaxy far, far away. To quote a famous fictional spiritual teacher, this one, there has been a great disturbance in the force. This disturbance, though we can't see it, is affecting us in ways we can't even be conscious of. I say this because several sleep research centers around the world are reporting subjects having strange, vivid dreams with unfamiliar narratives and images. It seems so the collective unconscious of the whole species is registering this global shift. As Angela Merkel said, es ist ernst. This is serious. Because so much has seriously happened since the church community felt whole again, I'm using these services now not to plow any personal ideological furrow, but to remind us of our Unitarian identity. During this pandemic, the things we're learning about ourselves and about power seem to be challenging our first and most basic principle, which is not our principle per se, but a principle that's common to all religious wisdom, all liberal religious wisdom: the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Now, this is true even for those religions that believe we're inherently flawed or sinful beings in need of salvation, because the assumption of original sin is that we are worth saving. So worth. Our first principle can give us faith in our own self-worth and can help us affirm the worth of anyone our culture tells us is worth less. Inherent, remember, means that worth is permanent, essential, built into being human, given to each and all of us. But is there any evidence for inherent human worth and dignity, or is it just like our opinion, man? On one hand, there doesn't seem to be evidence that humans really matter in the overall scheme of things. I mean, to be fair, our planet is tiny to the point of disappearance, and our species on it, fragile as a flower. Dinosaurs were probably a better survival bet, but just ask them about their worth and dignity now. The dinosaurs now fuel our economy and your car. On the other hand, all life is rare in a universe that's mostly lifeless. But are human beings uniquely of value in the overall scheme of things? Well, most religious wisdom says we are. Most religions are of the opinion, man, that we humans do have inherent value because we are the most beloved creation of a loving creator. Now, this might of course be true, but like all religious propositions, there's no actual evidence for that. There's plenty of evidence for this other proposition. This certainly ain't wrong, but is it the whole truth? Aren't human beings valuable in a way that rocks and space dust and even dinosaurs aren't? Many people, many Unitarians, have swallowed the materialism that meme expresses without really thinking about it much. The idea that we can only be sure of what there's evidence for. The Big Bang, evolution, and chance, and that's it. And ideas like human value or worth exist only in human heads and aren't built into creation. Human worth is a useful illusion we've evolved to give ourselves the will to replicate our DNA. A kind of cognitive bias of our species, a pitiful egotism for a creature so very frail and marginal. But if that materialist take is true, then nothing we do to each other down here really matters very much. There is nothing worthy or unworthy or good or bad, but only our thinking makes it so. You take away our thinking, and you take away worth or value from creation. Things don't have value, they just are. But if we only affirm what there's evidence for, there's quite a lot that we lack evidence for we couldn't do without. Love, for instance. You can't see it, you can't measure it, you can't locate it in space or time, or smear it on a microscope lens. Is love real in itself, or an illusion created by these chemicals on the slide, flooding an organ that's a couple of kilos of fat, protein, and water, twitching with electrical current? Come to that, we really don't know what a thought is. We don't know what a thought is, and yet thoughts are clearly real and definite things that exist. You're having them now. Well, some of you. Thinking as we humans do is our most vital and unique talent as a species, yet pluck out and show me a thought. If evidence is the only way of knowing anything, then you can't be said to know anything that lacks evidence, but we live as though we do know things lack evidence. We think, we love, we know when we are loved. Yet it seems we can't know any such things because there's no evidence for them. So, do Unitarians insist you accept the first principle on blind faith? You'd know by now that UUs don't really do blind faith. Try this eye-opening thought experiment instead. You're secured in a lab chair and hooked up to a machine that can read and dispense all of those brain chemicals that evidence shows cause thoughts of blissful love. This machine keeps you at this constant peak state of blissful love. Any dip in perfect rapture is instantly fixed. And there it is. So far, so good. Having fun? The lab team brings in all your precious and beloved earthly possessions then, and proceeds before your eyes to methodically destroy them. But the machine, despite them destroying your Mercedes-Benz, your Xbox, your favorite Waterford crystal or whatever, the machine instantly adjusts the chemicals, so all you experience is bliss. The team then brings in the people, all the people you love in your life, and methodically tortures them to death. But the machine keeps the chemicals flowing to continue perfect bliss. Remember, you've no control over the mechanics of bliss any more than your heartbeat. You can't will it away. Bliss must be your thought when these chemicals are in your brain. It's not a choice any more than your eye color. It's the result of millions of years of evolution forming your brain to work the way it does. So you're probably there now as I am, knowing that willful destruction of life is wrong and worse than destroying things. But you or me in the lab chair wouldn't have that thought. All we would think is, oh, nice. Yet isn't it wrong even without us experiencing it or thinking it wrong? So doesn't that moral value exist independent of you then? Or is value just like your opinion, man? All in our heads. If we know that some part of us would think it wrong and silently scream our objections to it, what part of us would you call that? What part of us is immaterial and expresses itself as love and longing? Are we talking of the soul or the spirit, perhaps, and its ways of knowing? Now, I hear in cyberspace some of you scoff at the word soul. But if you really believed that materiality was all there is, why would you live like anything has value at all? Lie, cheat, steal, torture, go for your life. Mostly we don't. Maybe we still have a kind of childlike fear that some surveillance God is really out there making a list and checking it twice to see who's being naughty or nice. If you're a true materialist and you're not living like a decadent, you're probably a moral coward. So if you're not living like a decadent, you're probably not a true materialist, but do have a vague yet firm sense of material values. This is a way we can know what there is no material evidence for. This is a way we can know that the values Governor Andrew Cuomo expresses here are more than just nice-sounding opinions, but really real, much the case. They touch us because they are real.
Yeah, my mother is not expendable, and your mother is not expendable, and our brothers and sisters are not expendable, and we're not going to accept a premise that human life is disposable, and we're not going to put a dollar figure on human life.
So how do we know that the values Governor Cuomo is speaking of are real and not just opinion, man? Well, how many of you in Zoom land have ever lost anyone dear to you? Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? Joni Mitchell says in the song Big Yellow Taxi, which is to say, we can be aware of what is missing. An absence of something can be a profound presence. This is called, in religious terms, the way of unknowing. That it's possible to know by our longing, our love, rather than by evidence. Anyone who has loved and lost will know that the absence of someone makes them a presence. Ask me now in an empty room whether the very absence of you is present for me. Now, unknowing may seem odd to suggest to rationalists, but considerations of worth properly take place in worship in churches rather than in debates in schools. And you can never know your soul or values or immaterial anything the way you know your material being, but you can choose to honor this persistent longing that every human life matters deeply, even cosmically. And whether that's something we've discovered in creation or put into creation by our longing for it, it matters and is real and is not just our opinion, man. All religious wisdom says that the unlikely fact of human life has a worth embedded into the very fabric of creation itself. The Pulitzer Prize-winning author Marilyn Robinson puts it like this in a recent essay, which is today's reading. We participate in eternal things: justice, truth, compassion, love. We have a vision of these things we have not arrived at by reason, have rarely learned from experience, have not found in history, but we feel the lack of them. Hope leads us toward them. Each individual person is born with an absolute dignity and significance, is meaningful in cosmic terms, participants in an ultimate reality that transcends and in every way exceeds this transient earth. Well, amen to that. To close, here's a hymn, a sing-along version of a favorite worth-affirming hymn, Blue Boat Home. You'll recognize the tune, I'm sure, if you don't know the song. You can click out to this and click back in for a special blessing. I'll be here when you get back. May we remember what we sometimes prefer to forget, that we are part of the whole of creation, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made of stardust and starlight, a way for creation to know itself, that we are capable of miracles, first among them, that we can love. Humbled by all we cannot know in this time, we come into the presence of what we do know, that love is now and forever the only answer in our time and in all times. Amen. Dear ones, be strong, stay connected, value your life and that of every person. I'll see you at Zoom Coffee Hour, or I'll see you next time.